Hi everybody, this is Dan Stolbarger. Welcome to this week's KFIR Middle East Update. And it is January 29th, and we're going to look back upon the events that have transpired this week. Just a reminder that behind me, you see the slides of the PDF. They are available without my head in the way on the YouTube page. Just click that link. We always start, or we normally start, with our news bites, but we have such great news. We want to begin with the lost being found. So finally, it's over. And Ron Gavili, as you know, was murdered on October 7th. And he was the first one in to fight. And now he's the last hostage to be brought home. But he's home. And so we just want to remember that. We want to celebrate that. Again, 843 days, 12 hours, 5 minutes, and 59 seconds. The hostages. It's the first time, quite some time, I think 2014, that there are no Israeli hostages in Gaza. And may we pray never, ever again. Interesting coincidence is right that the day in which Gavili was brought home happened to be the International Holocaust Memorial Day, when Auschwitz was liberated. Also in the Torah portion for this week, Moses is leading the people out. And what's he bringing with him? Remember, Joseph says, "Don't leave my bones here." What a coincidence that Gavili's brought home from Gaza. Don't leave my bones there. On the same week that we're reading that Torah portion. Again, in the slides, you'll see that there's actually a video of the soldiers that are honoring and bringing Gavili Ron home. So we wanted to start with that. I kept holding off. Oh, I found this fascinating. My wife passed it on to me. That I just heard from Isaac Gavili, Ron's father, and he says the IDF examined 249 bodies in a Gaza cemetery where they were told to search, and the 250th body they checked was Ron. In Jewish tradition, every Hebrew letter has a numerical value, and Ron's name, and I've given you the Hebrew there, coincidence, equals 250. Amazing, amazing. Well, let's jump into our news bites. I will say I tried to hold off as long as I could because the world is holding its bated breath to see what's next and what's going to happen. It seems there's a major standoff, obviously, between Trump and Iran, and it seems like it's a chicken fight, who's going to blink first. But let's jump in. News bites. Bibi Netanyahu, quote, "The next stage," we're entering into this new stage of Gaza. He wants to make it clear the next stage is the disarmament of Hamas and the demilitarization of Gaza, not the rehabilitation of Gaza, the demilitarization of Gaza. Let's be crystal clear. And then again, throughout this, we can all say breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. But newly uncovered documents reveal that the Hamas, as well as the Palestinian Islamic jihadists, army. Privately discussed documents were found discussing that their own rockets actually would kill Palestinian civilians. It's increasingly possible that more Palestinians were killed by misfired terrorist rockets than by Israel. Netanyahu, the IDF soldiers, and this is going to be a hot button topic. IDF soldiers paid with their lives due to the U.S. arms embargo by Biden. Basically, and we had heard this from our sources, and when our sources told us this, they said, please don't publicize this. But it's increasing, again, it was very simple. Israel was running out of ammunition. And because of that, lives were lost. Hamas, big surprise here, right? Demilitarization. Hamas is seeking to include, about 10,000 of its police officers in this new US-backed technocratic Palestinian administration. This Reuters, reported this. It's a demand, obviously, that Israel is going to nix or whatever. But once again, the audacity of saying, hey, we've got 10,000 members of Hamas, let's let them be part of this police force of Gaza. Right. And finally, two more things. Finally, Netanyahu accused sort of what's going on in the world today, the far left elements of colluding with radical Muslims, and it's a new phrase that we're going to hear more and more. He said, they're beginning to wage World War Jew. World War Jew. The first stage we're seeing as Islam finds ways to attack and infiltrate Western civilization. That is happening on our watch. And then again, as I said, we can say breaking news all the time. But right before me sort of turning on the camera here, I got word that talks are over and Trump is now signaling readiness for strikes on Iran. Only time will tell. Okay, our major articles this week. In light of what we just heard, Trump's trap. According to foreign reports, the American president is offering Iran a deal that consists of three major components. Number one, non-negotiable, you need to abandon the military nuclear program. Number two, a dramatic reduction in ballistic missile production. Number three, a total collapse or cessation of terror financing and supporting proxies. No more Hezbollah, no more Hamas, no more Houthis, no more militias in Iraq. That's sort of the basics that's on the table. And we'll probably hear some more. And yet, this is a deal this is why it's called Trump's trap. This is a deal that the Ayatollah Khomeini cannot accept. If he were to accept it, it would mean that Iran was abandoning its regime's two supreme goals. The export of the Islamic revolution, and again, there's no way that he can accept this. It's possible that Trump believes that Khomeini will agree to this in order just to save his own skin. But more likely than not, this is just, as I mentioned, a trap. designed to elicit a refusal, which we just heard, and thereby jump-starting a military action that we're waiting to see the depth and what happens. And this is an article that's simply called Tic Toc, report in the Wall Street Journal, excuse me, Iran has already rejected the terms, as we just said, of the Trump administration. They have reached the decisive conclusion that if forced to choose between whatever Trump is putting out there, the agreement proposed by Trump, that or war, Iran will choose the latter. Iran will consider it cheaper and to go to war than to surrender in advance. Here are the latest speculations. Trump is considering launching a major campaign against Iran, this time potentially targeting, and here's Trump's goal, targeting the country's leadership with a goal. The goal is regime change for Trump. It will include targeted strikes on Iranian commanders that were involved with the deadly crackdown against protesters. Who knows what the numbers are? We know that it's above 10,000 that have been butchered and killed in the streets, protesters. So they will be targeted. And the article concludes by saying one source cited in the report said that the administration is considering a wide-ranging air campaign aimed at destroying Iran's ballistic missiles, as we've mentioned, their arsenal regarding that, and preventing Tehran from resuming its uranium enrichment efforts. Now, Iran is saying, we're gonna hit Tel Aviv, we're gonna hit American bases. This is where we're at. This is that staring contest that's going on right now. And the power, the naval power, the air power of the United States in the Middle East right now is larger than it's ever been before. And then back to that concept where Bibi basically said, we lost lives because of Joe Biden. So again, this is a hornet's nest that's now been kicked. Biden imposed a partial arms embargo on Israel. Remember, he halted the transfer of bulldozers that Israel had already paid for. And what that meant, because they had no bulldozers, that soldiers had to enter booby-trapped houses on foot, leading to more casualties. Biden also slowed ammunition transfers to the IDF. Soldiers entered Rafah with tanks that didn't have full magazines, putting them at risk, contributing to their casualties. According to, and this is by Amit Segal, he says, according to a friend of mine, a tank commander in Gaza, they were only allowed to load a third of the tank's ammunition and were forbidden from firing a shell without prior approval from the battalion commander. And lastly, when they encountered terrorists planting explosives, they weren't allowed to fire a shell. So instead of eliminating the threat with one shot, they had to chase down the attackers, chase them off with machine guns, managing only really to catch a few that were part of this ongoing attempt to blow up tanks by planting explosives. Well, as I mentioned, I held off as long as I can, so there's a few other slides. Again, grab the PDF PowerPoint, but this one here is, this is New York Times headlines. And the notice I say, look who gets the credit. If you can believe it, the New York Times, upon Gavili's rescue and brought home, their headlines was Hamas hands over the body of Ron Gavilli. Closing a chapter for Israel. Hamas didn't hand over anything. The IDF did this. Again, New York Times. And then the broken cross, the old peace sign. My opinion, that's what we're looking at in the upcoming days with this so-called Board of Peace. So that's our report for this week. Pray. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for wisdom for Donald Trump. Pray for wisdom for Bibi Netanyahu. One thing we do know, God has not left the throne. He hasn't taken a vacation. God is in control. And with that, we can have peace and confidence as we pray, thy will be done. God bless you and shalom.